Oh no, Hong Kong is committing a huge outrage against the Catholic Church, according to several sources yesterday. Check this out. Also, this famous man has an important message about what the West's attitude to the Chinese should be, which we'll hear shortly. But first, the news. Hong Kong's latest target to oppress the Catholic Church. That's what this article says. It appeared yesterday in the National Review, a major US publication. Here's another one. 16 international experts expressed profound and grave concerns about looming threat to religious freedom and sacrament of penance in Hong Kong. Oh no, what have we done now? How exactly is Hong Kong oppressing the church? By refusing to put Roman Catholic priests above the law. Yep, that's literally the argument. I'll show you. Now, all around the world, if you get inside information about shockingly illegal acts such as people planning to blow up a city or committing child abuse, you have to report it to the authorities. Innocents are in danger. No cover-ups are allowed. If people are going to bomb a place or hurt kids or do something really bad, you can't cover it up. Now, the group behind this anti-Hong Kong campaign says cover-ups must be allowed if illegal acts are confessed to a priest of the Roman Catholic Church. That's their argument. Hong Kong is oppressing the Catholic Church by not including an exemption for Catholic priests in security laws such as Article 23. I know, right? It's totally ridiculous. Now, there are several things to notice here. First, we need to ask who's behind this insane campaign. You scroll down and you find the names. Well. Letters are being sent out by Benedict Rogers and Francis Hui to the most notorious anti-China activists. Rogers works for IPAC, financed by the NED, a group memorably described by author William Blum as the CIA's money laundering unit. And that's exactly what it is. Now here's what Rogers' statement says. To force a priest to reveal what has been said in confession against his will and conscience and in total violation of the privacy of the individual confessing is a total violation of Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I know that some journalists have printed that claim, but I'm an old school reporter. I like to check my facts. Remember checking facts? A lost art, something that journalists used to do? So I look up Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and find it says literally nothing about a priest's right to be above the law in covering up criminal actions. It's just a general assertion of everyone's right to freedom of belief, including atheists. You know, when you put this story in context, the argument of Rogers and Hui neatly implodes. Rogers and Hui make it all about Hong Kong, all about China, but they've mysteriously forgotten to mention that the exact same issue is being discussed in the UK. Last year, some Catholic groups asked the UK government to agree that priests hearing a person confess to child abuse be exempt from any mandatory reporting requirement. The very essence of sacramental confession is that it is a private, confidential encounter, says a letter by the Society. Now, the statement by Rogers and Hui makes a similar point. A confession is made by an individual before a priest in front of God, and what is said in that conversation stays completely confidential between only three beings: the person making the confession, the priest hearing that confession, and God. Okay, I wonder what God thinks about all that. I know what many humans think. Now, on the other side of the debate, UK critics have said that any demands that priests should be allowed to hide their knowledge of child abuse is outrageous, especially in the wake of a long line of child abuse cases, which have been covered up in a very harmful fashion. And in exactly the same way, the demand that priests here should be allowed to hide their knowledge of seditious acts in Hong Kong, that's also outrageous, especially in the wake of a long line of cases of violence and arson. Hong Kong bomb makers were literally caught with the exact same explosive used in the notorious London 7/7 bombings. They had enough explosives to bring down a building in Hong Kong. People would have been hurt. But anyway, That is Hong Kong's latest crime. We are oppressing the Catholic Church by not putting their priests above the law. Now, I know quite a few Roman Catholics in Hong Kong, and they are, without exception, good, honest, intelligent people that never want people, especially children, put in danger, whatever Benedict Rogers says. And going back to the Almighty, I think God must be looking down with dismay at people who stir up needless negativity for political reasons. In May 2020, Reuters printed a ridiculous special report strongly implying that Beijing was just about to silence religion in Hong Kong. It quoted Cardinal Zen saying, "I don't know for how long you'll be able to hear my voice." What actually happened in real life? The exact opposite of what Reuters said. The church thrived and Cardinal Zen never shut up. My wife decided to go to St John's Cathedral on Christmas Day. It was jam-packed. I'm glad I went with her. The music was fantastic. Hong Kong people now know that Cardinal Zen quietly received $380,000 from this former US intelligence officer who was running an anti-China campaign. Reuters staff, why not print an apology to the Hong Kong people? They deserve one. Pope Francis is at it again. He's breaking with the Western narrative and speaking blunt truths. He said the whole notion of using labels like democratic or anti-democratic with regards to China misses the point. China and the West are not the same. There are things that seem undemocratic to us, he said, but China is a complex country with a complex rhythm. Instead, he urged people to be open-minded and realize that they may not understand China in their lifetimes. To understand China takes a century, and we won't see a century, he said. The Pope, speaking to Italian reporters on a plane after a visit to Central Asia, called for respect rather than attack. It's not easy to understand the Chinese mentality, but it must be respected, he said. He said he'd set up a commission for discussions between the Holy See and Beijing. In dialogue, many things are cleared up, Pope Francis said. Now, the media portrays China as an atheist place which persecutes Christians and doesn't allow Bibles. But the truth is that China has more Christians than 95% of other countries, including European ones like Italy. And China prints the vast majority of the world's Bibles. While Christianity shrinks in the West, China has an estimated 70 million Christians, and the numbers are growing. Benedict, why not cultivate understanding instead of division? Why not build bridges instead of walls? Why not bring cultures together instead of pushing them apart? Remember the words of the carpenter. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Yes, exactly. Jesus is all right with me. Amen.